Hello, I am Reverend Jami, and my pronouns are they and them. And before we begin, I have some announcements. If you are a new UU, you've always been a UU, or you've been hanging around and you want to become a UU officially, we're going to have our new member ceremony where you sign the book during services, and then we'll have a orientation afterwards on the 19th. So if you want more information about that, see the good folks in the back. Keith Hutchison is waving his hand also to coordinate. And there's a few more announcements. The social justice team is having a meeting February 20th at 7. Article 2 revision, you'll be hearing a lot about this over the next 2 years because what's happening is, and we've already done a couple services and we're going to keep talking about it, our covenant as we know it, the 7 principles and the 6 sources, is not going away. It's just getting an update. We will always have that. And the update has more succinct just words that encapsulate the principles and the sources. And so there's visuals on that. It's a big change. Everybody has a lot of anxiety, I understand. And we will have lots and lots of meetings about it. And then we get to vote on it at GA. All right. And if you've had COVID, please contact our president, Molly Hornbuckle, so we can do contact tracing.
Okay, let us now begin. Good morning and welcome to San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Whether you are here in the sanctuary or watching at home, we are so glad that you're here. My name is Vivian Stidvent. This is my first time as lay leader, so bear with me. My pronouns are she and her. And just a little bit about me, I have been a member of San Gabriel since 2016. I am a retired LPC, that's licensed professional counselor. And before that, I was a graduate student while raising our 2 boys. And before that, I taught advanced German and math on the high school level. And so that's that. San Gabriel is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. If you would like to know more about us and learn about upcoming events, please go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. We especially are welcoming new visitors this morning. If you are visiting here for the first time, especially, we want to welcome you. And we really consider your presence here with us as a gift. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here at San Gabriel. And now for our opening hymn, to greet this day with a song. Our opening hymn is number 361, Enter and Rejoice. So please rise in body or in spirit. The music is in the gray hymnal, and lyrics will be projected. Oh, they already are projected. How nice. Okay. So let us now light our chalice. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith, for the promise of a new day, for the renewal of belonging, for the connection between and beyond all that is, all that was, and all that is yet to come. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul to greet this day.
It was a tough week. I hope you all have power. And so let's just take a deep collective breath in and let all that go, at least for the little bit that we're here. And right on cue, our call to worship is called How to Survive the Apocalypse by Sean Dennison. First, learn to listen, not only for enemies around corners and hidden places, but for the faint footsteps of hope and the whispers of resistance. Hone your skills, aim your heart towards kindness, and stockpile second chances. Under the weight of destruction, we will need the strong shelter of forgiveness and the deeper wells that give the sweet water of welcome. We have a place for you. When the world ends, we must not add destruction to destruction, not accept a beggar's bargain, to fight death with more death. In order to survive the apocalypse, any apocalypse at all, we have to give up the counterfeit currency of self-sufficiency, the mistaken addiction to competition, the lie that the last to die has somehow survived.
And now it is time for our affirmation. Our affirmation is an expression of our covenant with one another. Please read after me, and the words will be projected. The doctrine of this church is love. We are all to love. The quest of truth is its sacrament. We are here to learn. Service is its prayer. We are here to care for others, to dwell together in peace. We are here to live in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom. We are here to honor our differences, to serve humanity in fellowship. We are all connected in spirit, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. We are here to grow. Thus do we covenant with one another. All we promise to do together. And now, Karina, it is time for our Wonder Box.
Good morning, everyone. I'd love to hear what your wondering minds might be thinking about when you... Ooh, there's some clues. What do you think? A bell? Very close. There's lots of... It's a little more... What? I didn't hear it.
My meatloaf.
Your meatloaf? It's even actually, I don't know if you can hear. There is another sound coming out of here too. Ooh. Dun, dun, dun. It is actually ticking. I thought it was really quite loud, and I was like, maybe that's not a good thing to have a ticking thing inside a box. But so there was a clock in there. What do you think of when you see a clock? What does that make you think of? time, yeah. Schedules, yeah. Already late. All right, well, let's see. The story today is called Taking Time. Let's see what that shares with us this morning.
Taking Time. Written and illustrated by Joe Loring Fisher, published by Lantana Publishing. Taking time to listen to a bird song on the breeze. Taking time to gather up the blossom dancing free. Taking time to snuggle in my dog's soft velvet fur. Taking time to feel the beat of my cat's rhythmic purr. Taking time to watch with awe a spider build her home. Taking time to contemplate the journey as we roam. Taking time to wonder at the vast, astounding sky. Taking time to gaze upon a flock that passes by. Taking time to find myself in eyes that are so kind. Taking time to marvel at a snowflake, soft and fine. Taking time to imagine the deep sounds of the sea. Taking time to cherish you and also cherish me. The end.
And so even though they're talking about taking time, it's kind of the antithesis of what a clock wants us to do, I think, in so many ways. And so that's what brought mind to me for when we talk about self-care and the limits of self-care. And I can't wait to hear how Reverend Jami is going to share more about that with us.
I promise you that when I first came up with the title and blurb for the service today, I did not have a crystal ball. I had no way of knowing that Texans would be facing PTSD from a winter storm all over again. And because the score is kept in your body, last week was probably very hard on many of us, reminding us of the big storm just a few years ago. No power plus rapidly dropping temperatures is a scary place to be in for an hour, let alone for consecutive days in a row. And this time around, in this winter storm, there was the awful sound of trees literally breaking in two. People have described the sounds a lot of ways, a scary rumble, and the after effects are like some kind of horror movie. Many have posited that the storms before made the trees weak this year, and as a result, many didn't survive this round. This morning, you might have even noticed our St. Gabriel property was not the exception. Our poor trees got hit too, and thanks to Ron for taking care of that, and if any of you need firewood, first come, first serve. In exchanging stories about how our weeks went, my friend Atticus reminded me that sometimes, in some cases, some of the trees were doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing, letting go. Atticus had an old tree in his front lawn that was slowly dying. He was oddly looking forward to spring, he told me, as the tree seemed to have pruned itself in the combination of freeze and wind, and the old branches, which had died from a previous freeze, were finally broken off. His odd joy at a time when so many of us are in mourning made me stop and think about the teachings of Mel Robbins, who is an American lawyer, television host, author, and motivational speaker. She is famous for having covered the George Zimmerman trial on CNN, and she has an entire talk about how to let go that which no longer serves you, through the lens of what happens to trees during winter. Can I have the slide, please? This is from Schitt's Creek. And I know that you're like, I don't have time for self-care. And that's exactly the time when you do self-care. I'm going to try to capture what Mel Robbins tells us about letting go, because she believes letting go is an act of self-care, and that in the dying process, trees are not actually dying. They are just letting go of what no longer serves them. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because there's a lot of change happening in Unitarian Universalism, and we're going to have a new president, and we have Article 2, and the landscape of congregations as we know it continues to morph and change. One way we can stay steady is to lean into our UU values, which include answering the call to love. And one of the ways we do that is by letting go. By loving ourselves in this way, we can then love one another, and we can make room for spring and the sunshine that has yet to come. And the big question is, how do you know when it's time to let go? And I got a fantastic, unsurprising metaphor while we keep on this theme of trees. The metaphor of what happens to a tree during the fall is this. The tree has to let go of its leaves because the tree needs energy. It needs energy to literally grow. The leaves have a very particular purpose. The leaves are there to take the sunlight and convert it into energy so that the tree can grow, and in exchange, the tree gives a ton of water back to these leaves. The leaves are sprouting, and the leaves are growing, and the leaves take its surface area and convert the sun into energy so that the tree can go from a tiny little acorn to a mighty oak. That takes a lot of energy, and there's this reciprocal nature to the relationship that a tree has to its leaves, because the tree has to bring in tons of water in order to fuel itself. And that's the reason why leaves fall off a tree in the middle of winter. There is no water for the tree, and if those leaves with their big flat surface were to stay on that tree through winter, the leaves would literally kill the tree. It would deplete the tree of all the water that it needs. When we look at the leaves turning, we look at the leaves dropping gently and falling to the ground, we think it's a very beautiful process. It's actually a very violent act for a tree to push off its leaves. So the tree says to the branches and the leaves, if you're hanging around on my branches during the wintertime, you're going to suck me dry of all my energy, and so the tree has to be a little forceful with the leaves to get them off. Why? Because there is no reciprocal energy exchange that can happen during the winter. The tree has to conserve its energy to serve, and after the winter season, once those leaves are gone and the tree can conserve its energy, instead of giving all that leaf while killing itself, what can we learn from trees? We'll cover more of that later in the service. If you think about your life in the meantime and what leaves are killing you that you need to get rid of, that are going to be hurting to get rid of, that will center you for the second part. In the meantime, we're going to have a second hymn. Please rise in body or spirit for hymn number 311, Let It Be a Dance. So think about the trees we talked about just a moment ago. Take stock of your life, where you're giving all your energy into a relationship or into your work or into some terrible thinking pattern that you've been doing for years. It makes you feel bad. You put all your energy in one direction, you get nothing in return. That's what fall is for a tree. It is the praxis of letting go for us to witness and learn from. We can also put the lens on our own congregation. What if we examine the parts of us that took too much energy and time that aren't really feeding us as a people? And what if we were to let those parts go so that other different parts of our congregation can grow? Because the facts are, we simply do not have the staff or the volunteer hours to do all that we would like to do. We can be more realistic about things, take on a few major projects, and respect the time and energy boundaries of what our congregation can do. Satisfied in knowing that we have conserved our energy and not depleted our resources just so we can say, well, we have always done it this way, so gosh darn it, we're going to stubbornly continue to do that way no matter what. In order to do that, we need to let go of our expectations about quantity over quality. We need to get serious about capacity conversations. And we need a seriously significant amount of volunteers or more money for more staff to do the things that I have heard we want to accomplish. And that is fine and good. Let us always have ideals and also hold at the same time the reality of the situation. There is a saying a colleague of mine has that goes something like, churches love to kill progress with nostalgia. Sometimes we do things the same way we always have because even thinking about doing something new in a different way is uncomfortable. So we settle on that which is known, the old way, and in the process we slowly kill ourselves because there isn't enough water going around to all of the different leaves, the different parts of our life, the different parts of our congregation to survive. But remember the trees. The process of the leaves falling may seem gentle, but in fact the tree is kicking off those dead leaves. It hurts a little. That's normal. Having a cancer cut out of your body does not feel good, but a few months later, you sure do feel the difference. New cells, new life forming in your body is a totally different and better experience. Every spring, the trees show us how beautiful the end result can be. The excitement of green after months of dead and brown leaves is all we need to remind ourselves the end result really is worth it. I promise you that I'm not suddenly taking classes on botany, and you won't be hearing about trees at every sermon, but 2 years into the pandemic, it was time for me to shed my old talks about self-care and come up with something completely new. I am inspired by my friend Atticus, who is trying his hardest to make sense of this winter storm, and I hope you are too. Maybe Atticus is right. Though it makes us sad to lose the views from the window or think about all the shade we won't have, maybe other life forms will pop up because the ecosphere will be different now. All we need to do is honor that violent process of the trees letting go, of us letting go of our baggage, and trust that what is coming is greener, prettier, more fulfilling, more reciprocal than what we had before. But we have to stop and notice it, like in the story Karina brought us today. We have to slow down to really see the world around us and stop saying things like, when it gets back to normal, or I wish it was like it was before, because before does not exist anymore, just in our memories. We are different than before, so we must make this new reality here and now. We have to really move through this new phase of life together, and we have to do our own work first. I am anxious to see what greenery we can build as a church together, and to witness what happens when we continue to co-create Unitarian Universalism together. But we have to collectively let go in order to do that. So let us continue to be patient with one another and love each other through our shedding process.
We take an offering each week to sustain this space that we call home and to support the work of our fellowship. We continue to honor Black History Month with the offertory music, yes, indeed, a song written in 1941 by the African-American composer Cy Oliver. The offering will now be gratefully received, and we thank you.
Thank you to Vivian and Joe and Jackie, our musicians, and our tech team, and everybody else, the hospitality team, and all the many hands that it takes to get service done on Sunday mornings and run a church. We close our sacred time together when we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the chalice inside of our hearts, which serves as a beacon of hope. Emboldened by its blaze, we are reminded that our strength as prophetic and powerful people is found when we come together at St. Gabriel, which is here in Georgetown to stay, no matter what may come our way. And you're welcome to coffee in the next room and conversation and fellowship time.